Hi guys, a Tory MP took a bit of a pot shot at people like myself who believe that her party are on the ropes and are looking at a collapse in their vote at the next election. Heather Wheeler, the Conservative MP for South Derbyshire since 2010, believes political commentators are wrong to write her party off. When she spoke to GB News, the MP claimed that there was no love for Keir Starmer on the doorstep and that immigration is a really important issue to voters. Well, is she right?
So all eyes are on the next general election, and a lot of people, perhaps even yourself, will be asking, how did we get to a position where an 80-seat majority has been squandered so quickly, and now practically every pollster and pundit in the land is saying Keir Starmer is most likely going to be the next Prime Minister, except we do believe in miracles, especially at the Christmas time. Heather, how can the Tories turn this around?
Yes, I think it's ridiculous that things have got to the stage where punditry is the king on this. When you're actually out on the doors, if you're at the bus stops or in the queue at the butcher's or in the pub or wherever, then, you just don't get the same feeling that everybody else, that this narrative is there. People are annoyed with us because some of our base are annoyed with us because we don't have a majority of 80 anymore because this has happened and that's happened and something else has happened. And that's wasteful. I completely agree with you on that. But there is no love for Starmer out there whatsoever.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter one iota whether there's love for Starmer or not, because this is not a vote for or against Keir Starmer. Yes, there will be people who will vote for or against Keir Starmer, but for the general public, this is a referendum on the incumbent. Are they happy with the current Conservative government? Are they happy with 13 years of Tory rule? Well, it seems the majority are not. Something like 8% of the voting public want to keep the Conservatives in power. 8%. Probably the voter, the party membership. But it doesn't matter about Keir Starmer, because people are not voting for Keir Starmer. They could put a potted plant in charge and it would still win the election. So it's a vote for or against the Tories. That's what has to be remembered.
I wonder if, though, Heather, we don't have Corbyn as your opponent this time. Corbyn was the Tories' 12th man on the bench last time. ABC, anyone but Corbyn did you a favour. Starmer, however, doesn't quite pose the same risk to national security.
What? How the hell do they get away with saying stuff like this? So first of all, risk to national security. My goodness. And then second, this obsession with Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn hasn't been leader of the Labour Party since 2020. It'd be almost 4 years since he's been in charge. And he isn't even a Labour MP anymore. But the right wing, and in particular GB News, are obsessed with Jeremy Corbyn. But this thing about national security, wow.
The kind of issues that must be talked about in the Red Wall in your constituency in South Derbyshire, immigration must feature very, very highly, and yet the Tories have presided over record legal immigration, 745,000, no sign of stopping the boats. The only thing that stopped the boats was the weather over Christmas. A lot of people are saying, Heather, with all due respect, they would vote for a Conservative party if they actually felt like they were being Conservative.
Well, of course, but again, with respect, if the pundits actually explained you can't get the flights off because of the courts, and so we have to put an act through to make sure that the judges actually understand that Parliament is the number one deliverer of legal arrangements for this country, and it's...
What the hell are you talking about? The courts have said that it's unlawful. Said you can't send people to Rwanda because Rwanda is not safe. They have deemed it unsafe. Now, you can't just turn around and say, well, we've actually deemed it safe. It doesn't work like that. Is she really that stupid? But the pundits need to explain. No, the pundits don't need to explain anything. You have to demonstrate that Rwanda is safe. You can't just say that it is. You have to demonstrate that something has changed since the ruling by the Supreme Court. But you've provided nothing. You provided zero evidence that Rwanda is now safe. You've talked a lot, but you've actually produced nothing.
not the courts making up their own minds, thank you very much, then at least we will be able to get the flights off. So I know it.
Now we'll be able to get the flights off. Why didn't you actually discover this? Why are you only discovering this now? Why didn't you do an impact assessment? Why didn't you actually check with experts, with legal experts, to understand whether it would actually be legal to send people to Rwanda or not? Why are you only doing this now? Because when this policy was first rolled out, it was like, we're going to send people to Rwanda straight away. Well, somebody was wrong.
It's really easy to say no flights went last year. No flights went last year because we were going through the court time after time after time. So we have to stop that nonsense, which is exactly what we're going to do. Secondly, you're right. People are absolutely furious about the vast numbers of immigration, whether it's legal or illegal immigration. And again, come January, there's going to be a cap on students coming in that will not be able to bring their offspring anymore, or their wives or husbands, or whichever way around it is. So things like that will have an absolute impact. By February, the numbers will be completely different to how they were in January.
Okay, and Heather, people are going to be helping for a handout. It's the economy stupid, as Clinton said. Taxation looming. You have to make a tax cut now, don't you? 24 straight tax rises, the highest taxation policy since World War II. A lot of people out there thinking they voted Boris and got Jeremy Corbyn. It's time for...
My goodness, once again, Jeremy Corbyn.
...for a tax break, surely.
Well, fortunately, they've already had one with the reduction in the national insurance contributions.
But that's not a tax cut. What the hell? The reduction in national insurance is not a tax cut. Is she seriously trying to present this as a tax cut?
2 points off that, which is going to make a huge difference. That's 27 million people who will be getting a tax cut. So thank you for allowing me to remind everybody that a tax cut is on its way. But
it's not a tax cut. My goodness.
Right. It's public money. People understand that actually they spend it better than government does.
Wow. So here you have a Tory explaining, we're terrible when it comes to spending money. We've pumped £300 million into Rwanda. That was a mistake. We should have let the public spend the money or something like this. This is so funny about this is the hilarious thing about Conservatives. I'm talking about small c Conservatives. They say government doesn't work, and then they get into power and they demonstrate that government doesn't work. They at no point in this interview did they bring up the cost of living crisis. She talked about how people on the doorstep are upset that the Tories have lost their 80-seat majority. Does anyone really care about that? Then she talked about immigration, and then how it's not the government's fault, it's the court's fault, and that's why they weren't able to send anyone to Rwanda. It's blaming somebody else, of course, but it's... At no point did she mention the cost of living crisis. Now, she has something like an 18,000-seat majority. Hopefully she will lose it at the next election, because she doesn't seem to care about her constituents. The real issue for them is not immigration. It's not whether the Tories hold on to an 80-seat majority. It's the cost of living crisis. Whether they can pay their bills, pay their mortgages, pay their rent, feed their families. That's what's I believe that is their concern. And the Conservatives are completely ignoring that. And they're going to pay the consequences. And it doesn't matter whether it's Keir Starmer or a potted plant that's running against them. It will win. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.